Okay, everybody, welcome. This is Creator Chronicles again. And today I'm talking to Edmund Loh. And you've probably heard of Edmund. You probably have something of his. And what I will say is that, probably the first time that I really understood funnels is something that I bought from Edmund. And so he's really everything that I have from his, he gets into the nuts and bolts. And so this is a good guy to talk to when it comes to product creation. Edmund, thanks for coming on.
Hey, Charles. Thanks a lot as well. The honor is mine.
Yeah, man. I know that you've been at this for a little while, and even now, you are pretty consistent about creating, launching, and releasing. What I want to know is right now is, do you still think if you were to talk to somebody who is new, is that still one of the best ways to kind of get started, is to just get an idea and launch?
Well, Charles, personally, to give you a short answer, it will be a yes. Because what I do is that besides selling information products and digital products, I also do coaching. In fact, just before this call, I was talking to a couple of my coaching students. Of course, it also depends on their personality and their circumstances. However, let's just say, for argument's sake, you want to pick like the best way to get yourself known on the radar and the most profit potential possible. I would say I would go with launches, definitely.
Yep. Now the consistency part, is that by design? Is that just because you sort of set this out at the beginning of the year, or do you kind of come up with the ideas and then you decide what you're going to launch?
Right. So basically what I did was that when I got started out, it was 2005, and yeah, that's like quite some time back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So at a time, like most people, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. I struggled for the first several months, and even though I started making sales later through just like shooting in the dark, and I was making what you call affiliate commissions here and there. My big break personally came through in the form of product launching within that same year, but it was more like probably maybe 7 to 8 months into the business. Now, a lot of people would say that's relatively fast, but I did it in a circumstance where, let's just say back then, the idea of doing product launches was not really heard of. And all I did back then was just copying what other people or other gurus were seemed to doing. I just didn't know it was called product launch at the time. All right.
Yep.
So when I found out I was making good money at the time, I made my first $8,000 in profit from my first launch. And I thought, wow, this is great money, because for someone like me at the time, I had not seen that kind of money before. And I was like, yeah, I need to do more of this. And I'll try to do it again and again. And so that was what happened. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should just stick to product launches as your main source of income. But I think it's a fantastic way to get yourself out there, especially in a niche that you're not heard of, and you want to establish a form of authority. I think that's really the way to go. And that's something I would recommend to anyone if they want to make some serious money and be taken seriously as well.
Mm-hmm. When you start talking about moving from launching, you talked about getting yourself out there. What's the next step, right? So what are some of the next steps? Let's say you're out there, you're getting consistent, you're starting to launch. What are some of the other things that you can kind of move into after you hit that product launch stage?
All right. So Charles, are you referring to immediately post launch, or generally in the game of making money online?
Generally in the game of making money online.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying on that. So yep. Okay. Even though I love doing launches, and I still do product launches, however, in the grand scheme of things, you don't just want to depend on product launches as your only source of income. In fact, I think that's pretty dangerous, because I want you to consider that even though product launches can be rewarding, but think about doing a launch is that a lot of things can go wrong. And I always look at product launches like launching a shuttle, and all it takes is for a few wrong things to happen, and boom, the whole thing can go bust.
Right.
Yeah, I'm talking about some extreme examples over there. And in fact, despite my my track record of launching products, not everything is a success even to this day. There was some hit and miss going on. Of course, my odds are better, but still, it's not really something that you want to keep doing in the long run as well, because product launch itself is not a business, as to paraphrase what a friend just said. Okay, so moving forward is that this is my personal answer. It may not be for everybody. So what I do is that with all these profits I make from a launch, there are a couple of ways we can look at it. All right, let's talk about two phases over here. One's the immediate phase and one's the long term. Okay, and I hope that this is something that people on this call will really want to follow. In fact, this is something that I advise my friends and my business associates to follow where possible. So let's talk about immediate post-launch first, all right? I think that's really important. So this is probably the answer that a lot of people may have heard by now, is that at this stage, you already have a buyers list. So you've probably heard that, you can start doing affiliate promotions, you can start doing reciprocations. And I know that for most newbies, this would be a very cool experience, because suddenly you're in a game, you're networking with everybody, you just joined the who's who in the internet marketing arena or whatever niche you're in. So, I mean, if that's you right now, congratulations. I'm sure that's a very awesome feeling, okay? So here's the next step though. Actually, I feel a little bit, I had some reservations about saying this actually, but just knowing that this will not fall into as many hands as possible, I think I can just confidently say it, all right?
Yeah.
In the long run, you might want to guard your mailing list a little bit closer, okay? You don't want to be doing too many reciprocations in the long run, or just mailing for everybody. I'm not saying you can't do it at all. I mean, personally, I do it for my immediate strategic partners, and of course with some people with exceptional offers such as yourself, all right? So, but you don't just want to pour out your mailing list. You don't want to just promote anything that comes your way, because you're not in the long run. You have to protect your mailing list to a certain degree, because let's say, for example, they're on your list, Charles, right now, okay? And if you keep promoting every single person that comes your way, you're going to realize that these people will eventually hear more about the people you're promoting than they hear about yourself. And that was a problem I had for a long time. I just didn't realize it that way. I mean, consider this though. If in a month you launch once and the rest of the days you're just promoting everybody that comes your way, and eventually your buyers will learn more about other people than they actually learn about you. So that's not going to be really helpful to your positioning and branding. It actually goes against the idea of why you started doing a launch in the first place, because you want to get people to know more about you and build your brand from there. So again, to clarify, I'm not saying you shouldn't promote other people at all. I'm just saying that you should just be more careful with who you promote, and you want to spend more time cultivating your buyers to be more loyal to you in the long run. That's what I did differently this year. I became more selective with the people I promote, and I spend more time nurturing my mailing list to be more towards buying my stuff. That's why my coaching program started flying off the shelf this year than it did last year. Because when I tried doing it last year, yes, you can see that my techniques were not as refined as right now. But the thing is that most of these people who ended up on my mailing list, they knew more about the people I was promoting than they actually knew about me. And that was a problem. So yeah, I mean, these are some of the things that people don't really think about, or they don't really think ahead. So this is something you definitely want to consider, because the best thing ultimately is people, the reason why they're on the list is because they want to buy stuff from you. So you want to do whatever it takes to get people to be loyal to you. And if you can do just that, we're not just talking about amazing open rates. We're talking about people who are willing to pay you big bucks for your high ticket offers. We're talking about that kind of level. So that's all the immediate things you have to pay attention to. Now, this is the second part, which I think you're going to be interested in, Charles, is the long-term game plan. Now, if you notice that, I mean, on Facebook, I'm sure you hang out there a lot as well, Charles. I've been seeing you around liking status and liking photos here and there.
Yeah.
Okay. So something to share with you as well is that, I mean, whatever profits you make from your launches or your affiliate commissions, I would recommend that you set aside some of the amount on investing in assets. Now, this is something that a lot of internet marketers don't do, because when people look at successful internet marketers, they look at the fast cars, the big houses, maybe the amazing women as well in some cases. But the thing is that you look at most of these internet marketers, they're not real business owners. They just know how to make money, but they don't really know how to build a long-term business. And there's no guarantee that your business will be the way it is in a long time to come. I mean, I've been around for 11 plus years, and in as much as I like to think I'll be around for maybe another 10 to 11 more years, but I know that it requires me to be remain competitive. So what I do in the long run is that I started buying assets with the profits I have. So I look at properties. I think properties is really a no-brainer. It's what I call a wealth 1.0 kind of thing. And if the idea of buying properties kind of put you off, here's something I just want you to consider. Okay, you see, last time when I bought a house for myself, and before that I bought one for my mom, I was put off by the renovation, the paperwork, and pretty much some incompetent people along the way. So I told myself at the time, you know what, I don't want to do properties because I'm so troubled by all the paperwork. Maybe I'll just stick with membership sites. Yeah, I think that sounds good. I'll just stick with my online business since it's producing fast cash flow, and all I need to do is just send emails. All right. But what changed my mind was that there was this other internet marketer that I follow. He's just doing very, very well. He's easily an 8-figure guy, owns a yacht, some fast cars and things like that, owns a big house. Maybe typical of the pinnacle of internet marketing success. And there was this post that he wrote one day that changed my mind, like on the spot. Okay. He was talking about why he actually spent on buying investments first before he actually showed all the flashy stuff that a lot of people see on his Facebook account.
Yeah.
So, but up to that point, I wasn't really buying into the whole thing yet. I was telling myself, oh man, if you're talking about buying properties, that sounds like a lot of work, you know. And then there's just one thing he said that changed my mind, and that's the thing that I'm going to pass it on to you guys. Which one do you think has a higher chance of being around for the next 10 to 20 years? Your properties or your online business?
Right. Yeah. People
So,
have to live someplace.
yeah, exactly. I mean, an online business is awesome. I mean, I've been doing it for the last 11 years, but if you're talking about having it remain stagnant, I think that's just very dangerous, and a lot of people cannot cope up with changes. So the way I look at it right now is that I would rather you treat your product launches, your affiliate marketing, and whatever means you're generating income online as a cash flow generator. And once you start making the profits, I suggest maybe you set aside 10 to 20% of it to put into buying assets like properties, and that should be the long-term game plan. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now.
And that's really consistent with some of the stuff that, you know, I know a lot of people in our audience, they have read Robert Kiyosaki, and he talks about having, you know, sort of this one business and then buying assets with, you know, the additional cash flow so that those assets will eventually pay you too.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Charles. I would say that the very first book I read on personal finance was Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, back in 2000. I was still going to high school at the time. And even though the concepts were very easy to understand, even for a high schooler, but yeah, I know he was talking about how you need to have money working for you, and there were some diagrams going on, why you need to build an asset and let the asset buy other assets before you get the liabilities. But it sounded great on paper, but I realized that I just didn't know how that really worked in real life. Like when I looked at it, I realized, wow, this is actually a lot of work. Why don't I just buy the liabilities with my business? I mean, why do I need to make it twice the amount of work? It just didn't click in my mind. And then now it suddenly just, all the light bulbs just went on finally. I know this sounds tiring to hear for some people, but this is really the secret of the rich, that you don't just want to be an internet marketer making money. You have to go beyond that. And I think the situation demands that you have to think beyond that. In fact, if you really want to get ahead, you don't just want to stop at paying bills every month or just putting food on the table. You have to get past the survival stage to go into a thriving stage.
Right. No, that's powerful. Now, you talked about the fact that, you know, you were thinking about membership sites, and I want to transition because I know you've got something new coming out for people who wanna learn about it, and some people who might even wanna help other people learn about. So what's this new thing that you've got coming out when it comes to membership sites?
Okay. So what's coming up next is this continuity income program, which I'm launching really soon. And basically, the premise of continuity income program is actually pretty much after the same materials and the same content that I had previously taught in my seminars, talks, and workshops before. And Personally, I love membership sites for all its amazing reasons. Like, I think number one is very obvious: recurring income. You get people
Mm-hmm.
come in once, and then they'll continuously pay you for months to come, and until they stop they stop their subscription. But hey, think about it. Even if they stay for 3 to 6 months at the very least, the fact that I only need to sell them to them once, and they stayed for at least 3 to 6 months. I thought that was kind of cool. That means that that's like 3 to 6 times the leverage.
That's
So,
right.
right.
That's right.
But I'm just being conservative over here because if you do it right, you can have members staying for the next 12 to 24 months, even maybe longer as well. And I have members doing just that. In fact, one of my membership sites that was one of my first successful membership sites had a retention rate of 69%, even after 12 months. So what this means to say is that 69 out of every 100 members continue
Wow.
to stay even 12 months into it. And this is pretty much unheard of in internet marketing.
It is.
So at that point in time, a lot of people that I talked to, including my internet marketing buddies, they were telling me things like, oh, people just stay for like 1 or 3 months. Maybe you should just stick to selling one-time products. I was kind of defiant in a way. This was 2011, by the way. I just didn't like what I was hearing. But then I started changing my methods because up to that point, I failed with membership sites. In fact, 2 of my membership sites failed after spending 6 months on each of them. So that's like 1 year wasted in total.
Right, yeah.
So I changed things, switch up some things a little bit, and we're not getting into too much detail. I just changed the things into like fixed term where people have predictable content for like the next 12 to 24, 36 months, and I just line everybody up to just go for it. And that's how I change things around for me.
So somebody can get this, and they can actually, because I know for a lot of marketers, whether they're launching or even if they're just getting started, you're right. This is the holy grail, which is they can get 3 to 6 months, even 3 to 6 months, and even if they learn how to do it longer, is to get people to buy in, so they don't have to again rely on launching products. They kind of have this base, and they can make the right decisions for the right reasons. So they can get this, and people can learn how to do membership sites.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, to also paraphrase another marketer, I can't remember who it was. He said along the lines of, if you don't have anything that's recurring in your funnel right now, you don't really have a business. And to a lot of degrees, I really agree with him on this, because if your business is built entirely on one-time payment products, it's going to be hard to get people to come back and buy over and over again, because the thing, to me, it's easier to sell to people who's already been your customer than someone you had to convince all over again.
No, that's fantastic. So everybody, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna finish this conversation with Edmund, and we're actually gonna talk a little more in depth about membership sites, because he actually knows what he's talking about. Those of you who actually pick up this product, I want you to go to gainmindshare.com/Edmund. Pick up the product, and then you're actually going to get the second part of this conversation where we get into membership sites. And I think you can hear that he knows what he's talking about. If you want to have the kind of results where you can actually maybe you can do better than the 3 to 6 months average when you get this from somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. So again, go to gainmindshare.com/Edmund. Pick up the this continuity income product, and then you're going to get the second part of this conversation where I talk to Edmund about membership sites. Everybody. So again, Edmund, thanks for showing up on the show, and yeah, we're gonna continue on. Everybody, this has been the Creator Chronicles, and I look forward to seeing you in another episode.